There's a lot of deaf schools around, and we can attribute this to Thomas Gallaudet. I want to discuss with you considering the importance of Thomas Gallaudet. Here's the little biography of his history. He was born
He was very studious, and
he didn't have good eyesight. His vision was a little bit blurry, but he was stubborn and wanted to continue to read, so he got really smart. So his health was not great either. He was weak and sick. He was very frail, small boy, but he would continue to read. He entered college university at Yale. He graduated when he was 17 years old. So through that, he really wanted to change. But he loved God a lot. And at university, religious studies. He graduated and went to people's homes. But again, his health was poor. And a lot of traveling made him sick. And so he decided really he didn't feel like traveling for work was for him, and that his health was more important. So one day he went to visit his family. It was exciting celebration, lots of activities. And he was standing outside. His sisters were all around. And they said, "You go to Yale College?" And all the kids were playing, having a great time. And there was a little girl named Alice. And she was all by herself. She looked really sad. She kept watching all the other children playing, but she was by herself. And so Thomas Gallaudet saw her and yelled to her and wanted to see what was wrong with the little girl, but she couldn't hear him, so she continued on her way. So he asked somebody what was wrong with this little girl, and they explained to her that she was deaf. And that really hit a soft spot in his heart. And so he approached Alice.
And he tried to talk to her. He said, "Can you hear me?" And she couldn't. And so he had this great idea. He started drawing stick figures, stick letters on the ground. And she was looking at them, trying to understand. She didn't really get it. So he tried again. And again, trying to show her that this word meant this thing. And finally she understood. It was a great moment. And she was able to write with the stick on the ground, too. He shared with her his name, and then she wanted to know her own name. So he wrote Alice on the ground. And she was so excited. She went and she ran to her father, and she was so excited. She went in front of him and she wanted to show them exactly that she knew that she was Alice. And her dad was so excited. He couldn't believe it. He started crying. They embraced, and it was just such a happy moment for both of them. They wanted to know who had taught her this, and so her father went to go and talk to Gallaudet. And he was talking to him about, well, she's never had any schooling or anything like that. How did you teach her this? She's deaf and dumb. But
the father wanted to give him money to set up the first deaf school in America.
Gallaudet was really unsure about it. He was like, "Are you sure? I don't know if I can do that. It's your daughter." And so they gathered all the money together and they really made it happen. They got a ship together and they went. They arrived in America. Backwood, and they had this oral school happening, which was realizing that there wasn't any really a good deaf education program set up here, and so he was trying to work with them. But they ended up not wanting to work with him, but was really lucky that that happened anyway. So
They decided they didn't want to do oralism. And you'd found a pamphlet.
there's a presenter, and so it was at night, and they all went, and he was signing, and Gallaudet went and said, "You're deaf," and he said, yes, I'm a deaf person. And I started this.
They have a deaf institution in France where it was school.
I was like, oh, this is.
So Gallaudet went with him to look around, and he could not believe French Sign Language was all he saw, and he was learning all of these signs. 1 month quickly turned into 2, and he was constantly thinking about Alice back in America, and he started to run out of money, and he was getting frustrated with himself because he was wanting to learn as much as he could, but he could not learn everything in that short amount of time. So he invited the instructor to America with him. He said, "You should come with me and teach Alice." And he explained to his boss what he wanted to do, confronted his boss about this. The boss had mixed, he wasn't sure about this at the beginning because this man is such a cherished teacher at their university. So they decided to sign a contract that the man could go for 2 years, 3 years, sign the contract, and at the end of that 3 years, he would have to come back to the school. So they signed the contract immediately, and we're really excited to go. It turns out they were an incredible teaching team together, and they bought a pocket watch, gave it to the man. They exchanged remembrances. So the two of them set off on the cruise for 52 days, and Gallaudet taught him English, how to read and write in English. And in exchange, Laurent Clerc taught him French Sign Language. And finally, they got to meet Alice. Laurent Clerc got to meet Alice. And they went around and wanted to find more deaf students. And at this time, it was a small setup for a school. They had 7 students, and it quickly grew. So they were outgrowing their facilities, had to keep moving to larger places. So Gallaudet changed to a personal service.
He was managing the school, and then Laurent Clerc was the teacher, the main teacher there. As soon as one of the students graduated, she ended up getting married to but Gallaudet was really, really upset about it. As soon as the student graduated, he going to marry her, and he was trying to defend himself, saying that they had fallen in love. But So his father had 7 children. 2 of them were deaf. They were all really healthy and majored in deaf education. He really wanted them to be involved in assisting other deaf people, but they really didn't want to do it. The youngest son, David Gallaudet, got really involved with it, and he decided that he was going to go ahead and go for that. So he went back to the school he set up in America and started teaching a lot. And he gathered up some more money, but he kept going back and forth.
Going to school at the university, he found a passion for teaching deaf education to children. So for the certification, he was trying to get accepted. So he brought his mother with him for Lee Gallaudet College. So they named Gallaudet College after Edward's father, Thomas Gallaudet. Laurent Clark was very proud of Edward. And the president, so Laurent Clark went to give a presentation at Gallaudet University. Deaf education was established in America. It was an enormously historical moment in deaf education history. He's a very honored man. Because of these 2 men, there's a huge difference in deaf education.